It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
This is Two Guys and a Goalie presented by GS Construction. Two Matts and a Goalie edition once again. Matt Iwanyk, Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage with here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio as well as those watching on YouTube. As I said, presented by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, safety, driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become a part of the team. Visit gsconstruction.ca and click Ready to Work, or just check out their page at Indeed.ca with the next person up program at GS Construction. It's not just a job, it is a career. Boys, how you guys doing? Gage, have you recovered from the pom-pom waving from yesterday morning on the morning show?
Oh yeah, that was over right away. It was more anaerobic than aerobic, so quick recovery time.
Cass, how you doing? Are you waving pom-poms on Sunday night? Were you going out celebrating the Oilers off to a Stanley Cup final?
Yeah, we have to pom-pom or two. Why not? I don't know. Not really a pom-pom guy there.
No?
Mr. Iwanyk. No, not a pom-pom guy. I was happy, though. I was happy. No, we ended up going out to the cabin. I guess we was back from the cabin that night at that point. So I was back because I did the pre- and post-game show. Obviously, I was back.
What about role-playing night, Cass? You know, with the quarterback and cheerleader? Yeah. You in the cheerleader's outfit, I'm saying, but whatever.
I know.
Mandy with the quarterback?
With the QB one. Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that. So a reminder: we got a $100,000 qualifying opportunity, or $100,000 hole-in-one qualifying opportunity later in the show. We'll also qualify for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival VIP table, July 13th to Kevin Hart. But yeah, like overall, how you guys feeling about this Edmonton Oilers team? As you head on looking towards the Stanley Cup, I guess, what are the biggest things you've taken away from the Oilers series win against the Dallas Stars?
I think just the fact that questions have been answered. All the narratives going into each series of 1, 2, and 3. You can't say that there's no depth. You can't make any type of conversation about goaltending or even the fact that it's the defensive play of the Edmonton Oilers. They're a complete rounded team. Now, when you look across at the other side, there's other challenges definitely, but I don't get how, aside from the first round, that you could say maybe a little bit closer in the second, but the Oilers have been underdogs for essentially 3 rounds here. And I understand it, but going into this series, the cavern between the two teams is definitely not there. Either of these teams can win the Stanley Cup.
Cass, biggest takeaway from the series against the Stars?
Yeah, we'll see. Sorry, everyone, for the little show there. I was trying to fix the microphone, see what's going on. So
very quiet still. Very quiet.
I mean, I see if you guys to see if I don't know if that's Zach to come in there today.
Zach's got you fully cranked.
Maybe a reset, Cass.
Right, well, I'll take it with it on my end here in a minute. Well, I might have to do a full reset, so we'll try that on a minute. But in the meantime, I'll just swallow the microphone and talk really loudly. It's going to be an even series. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will do a reset, and we'll see what happens.
You go. You do that reset. We'll bring it back on in a bit. Zach's working on this, so we'll just have that question mark for a little bit. Okay, Gage, you're like looking at goaltending. What have you seen in Stuart Skinner's play that has improved? Like, I was looking at his numbers since he came back in the Canucks series in Game 6. From Game 6 and 7 and through the Dallas Stars series, he's got a .919 save percentage. Just in the Western Conference Finals alone, it's a .922. What have you seen differently from Stuart Skinner in the last 8 games that wasn't necessarily there in the first, 3 games against the Canucks?
Well, you can tell his confidence is back, but his ability to essentially um, take a goal away and make the saves that he's supposed to make. To get the puck past Stuart Skinner, it has to be right now, which is usually the case with most goalies when they get to the Western Conference Final or eventually the Stanley Cup Finals. You have to do something pretty special to get the puck past them. And I forget who scored the ridiculous goal in Game 5. I think it was Wyatt Johnson, who actually turned his stick over on the toe of his stick and created a ramp for it to go up and go top shelf. Like that's an amazing goal. The Marchment goal in the last game, it had to be a bounce off the boards and kind of a lucky play getting out in front. Like these are everything, and he's making saves that maybe he has no business making. The Duchesne shot, he goes back the other way on him and kind of hits him in the shoulder, and he doesn't even realize it. Right? He is giving the Oilers the type of goaltending that's required at this time of year, and you're just going to have to get in his eyes. It's going to have to be second chance opportunities. It's playoff style goaltending, Matty, and I've always thought he's capable of it. It's just the matter of putting it together, and he has.
I think your mic's already sounding better, Cass.
All right, is that better?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
There we go. There
That's
we go.
music
Crisp.
to the ears.
Crisp. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Full reset sometimes. The old Gager, have you unplugged it and plugged it back in? Yeah.
Oh, it's
How
like
many-
a
Turn
white
the power off and on.
How many
it's
times
a white
did you have to
berry
deal
white
with
right
that?
now, Cass. Great.
Gager, how many times did you have to
it's-
deal with that when at Shaw? Like, how many times was it just a reset that was the fix?
Basically every single time. Yeah, but the fact most people get mad at you when you do that, because you go in and I basically go out to my car and sit in there for a while and then just wait and come back in. Say, yeah, we looked at some stuff outside and I plugged it back in and it worked just fine. But people they want to make it look like you had to do something special to get their services back up. Yeah, everyone just try a quick power cycle, and usually that's the biggest fix.
And look, it worked for Cass just now.
Yeah, it worked. It
now
worked.
you
Yep.
just sound lovely.
Now I sound lovely, and I can comment on Stuart Skinner. And Gager, I don't know. I kind of had you in the camp of everyone else that was just like, Skinner, don't trust him. I don't know how many times people said, well, even in playoffs, over and over again. I got called a homer numerous times, got called the president of the Stuart Skinner fan club numerous times by various people. And they are all the people like, oh, seriously, Matt, you can trust Skinner to get this team to a Stanley Cup final. You can trust him to do that. You can trust Stuart Skinner to do that. You seriously think Stuart Skinner can get? Well, yeah, he can, and he did. And I do not feel my trust was misplaced. He did exactly what he did during the regular season. And yes, they had to pull him for 2 games, and it wasn't just his fault in those instances. It was not just his fault in those instances. Did he bear some of the blame? Yes, absolutely, he did. But again, when I looked at the types of opportunities, and it was just like, no, this is a team issue. And when the team started to actually pull it together and play in front of him and play well in front of him, you saw the exact type of goaltending that he's capable of. And now they're going to have to do it again against a very, very good Florida team and a cross from Sergei Bobrovsky, who has been playing very well this playoffs too. So has we'll call it the game-breaking big save ability, like just those superhuman out of nowhere. No one thinks he's going to make a save and somehow makes a save. Bobrovsky does that on occasion. So you're going to have to contend with that. So you need more of that from Stuart Skinner. But guys, I missed some of what you talked about because I was resetting, but I am not surprised that Stuart Skinner played as well as he did.
No, I think we all said. I mean, I know I said that I always thought he was capable, but everyone that said, "Oh, he just needs to be okay," I disagree entirely. He couldn't just be average goaltender. He needed
No, it has to be above average.
Way
above average.
Yeah, it's above average goaltending that any team requires. No one gets to the Dallas Stars had average goaltending. I think if you looked at the play of Ottinger, it was average goaltending for this time of year, and they didn't get to the next level.
Yeah, I think Stuart Skinner will play Jake Ottinger in that series. I think we look on that and go, he made
Yep.
the extra saves that were necessary to ultimately get the Oilers to 4 wins, and why the Dallas Stars stayed at 2. And there's going to be a lot of confidence, I think, just overall now with the team inside the locker room, especially, of having Stuart Skinner and net going into this series for a Stanley Cup final against the Florida Panthers. Do you give this, is it pretty equal? Is the slight edge go to Florida? If you had to go with the series, who's got the advantage in the end?
Are we looking at every area?
I'll say
just,
goaltending. I'll just go with the goaltending right there.
It's even. It's completely even.
Cass?
I'm sorry, that's not long-winded, but
No, that's I think that's exactly where I would put it too myself.
Yeah, I'd say pretty even. Yeah.
And again,
Pretty
if
close.
I'll just throw the quick numbers of the Eastern Western Conference Finals. Bobrovsky at 921 save percentage, Stuart Skinner 922 save percentage. So it's dead on right there. In that game, as they clinch to get to the Stanley Cup Finals, it's 10 shots the Oilers have on net. They gave up a lot of chances to the Dallas Stars. Was that a game where you thought the Oilers needed to do a little bit? Now they ultimately get the win, but they're not going to win the Stanley Cup Final if they're only getting 10 shots on net. But I was watching that game, and I felt they did a really good job, though, of while the Stars were getting shots, they were kept mostly to the outside, and they protected the area in front of Stuart Skinner very well. That I wasn't as, up in that press box, there were some people that were like, the Oilers need to do more. I think they're actually playing a really decent game, actually, in that sense. How did you guys make how the Oilers clinched the spot in their Stanley Cup?
They after the first 2 goals, they were, they were a frog's bum. They got watertight there for a while, and they kind of just tried to hang on. Connor said it; it wasn't their best effort, right? But
No.
there was some puckering for sure, and they were able to coax that to the end.
Oh yeah, it was hang on for dear life. I will agree with you though, Maddie, that they did protect the middle of the ice well, and they cleared secondary chances. So it's when there was one chance, there generally wasn't 2, and so they cleared it well. But it was scrambly, survive, hold on, and play against a desperate team, especially after that first goal of Dallas's went in, where it was just it was pucker time, as Gager said, majorly. But they hold on, and who cares, right? Who cares? Now, you can't have that same effort every game against the Florida Panthers. It's not going to work, but every good team, and we could look at probably pretty much every single playoff run, or vast majority of them at least, and look at some of the games in those series and say, there is going to be a game where your goaltender needed to bail you out, where you didn't play well, maybe you got an early lead, maybe you got a lucky bounce, and the other team outplayed you, and your goalie got you through it. And that's that clinching game against Dallas, where, no, they didn't play great, but their power play was good enough early on that it got them the lead, and they were able just to sit back and hold on to it. Not a recipe for success every game in a series, but who cares? You clinched the Western Conference with it.
Like Sam Bennett at the Combine. Doing a chin-up, just holding on.
I think it was a pull-up. It was a pull-up, not a chin-up.
It was a pull-up.
It could do a pull-up or something. That's what. I think that's the story. 780-218-9999. That is the Paris Jewelers inbox. You can text any questions you have there or thoughts. You could also jump into the nasty chat. A couple of comments I do want to get to. Throw both of your guys' way from the Paris Jewelers inbox. I'll start with the one from Rob. Hello, gentlemen. Quick question. Do you think this long 5-day layoff is going to hurt the Oilers? They had this happen after their 16-game winning streak. What do you guys make of this 5 days off? Both teams having to go through it. The Panthers get the 1 extra day because they clinched the day earlier, but they're both dealing with the layoff. This isn't like the 2006 when the Oilers had a longer layoff than the Carolina Hurricanes. But does this rest of a week help or hurt the Edmonton Oilers in your eyes, Cass?
I mean, it's even for both teams. I think it helps Edmonton in that if you have guys that are nicked up, because guys are going to be nicked up. Vander Kane, One leaving the game, probably related to his athletic pubalgia ongoing, most likely. I would assume that's what flared up. And so you're just like, okay, a couple extra days helps you get through that. Helps with Connor, helps with Leon, helps with Ekholm, helps with Bouchard, guys that have played a lot of minutes. It just benefits you. Now, Florida has got the same thing, and you could say the same thing about their players, and that it's going to benefit them too. So, they're both the length of a break where it's a wash. This isn't a situation where you have one team that has a really long break and one that's really short, where you're like, the rest versus rust. It's both teams have rest and rust. I will say it puts more of an onus on the team that wakes up first in game one, that cleans off that rust in game one quicker and gets up to the speed. But I could very well see that there's not much of that for both teams, just from an emotional standpoint. Being that it's the Stanley Cup final, you're probably going to see them both come out of the gate flying. So I don't know. I think if anything, it helps Edmonton, but it also helps Florida, and that ends up kind of being a wash, similar to the goaltending, just kind of a wash.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cass. If I'm going to lean one way or the other, I give the slight edge to Edmonton, just to heal some bumps and bruises. Looks like Florida's quite a healthy team. Last year, I forget what it was. Didn't they have like over a week off?
Was it like 10 days or something?
10 days till the final, and that hurt them going into. And they were a broken down crew at that point too, which didn't help. But the fact that that they both have basically the equal amount of time off here. It's quite even with just maybe a slight edge with, as Cass mentioned, the athletic pubalgia. Maybe the slight edge does go to Edmonton.
Florida advanced on May 24th to the Stanley Cup Final last year, June 3rd. They played their first game, so there was a bit of a break there. Immediately lost the first two games, 5-2, 7-2. I think from an entertainment perspective, giving two teams a chance to be a little more healthy going into a Cup Final should lead to a better series, even those days off between games. But if either of you two or Chris Nalbuck, and I don't know the full schedule for the Oilers this week, they had yesterday off. Today there was media avails. How would you map out the rest of this week for the Oilers? Is there a lot of full on ice time practices? And when would you fly out to Florida? When would you want to get out to the East Coast? Because you've got it's furthest north team in North American sports taking on the furthest south team in North American sport, like for the major leagues that we cover, and you're also having to take 2 time zone difference. When would you want to fly out if you're the Edmonton Oilers? If you two guys had all power and were Chris Nalbuck?
Yeah, I'm flying out on Thursday in the afternoon. Skate here, fly out Thursday afternoon. Have 2 nights to catch up. You're a night an hour from a time zone standpoint. So being able to have 2 nights, I think, is ideal. Get used to the ice, skate down there, be down there, less distractions. There will be less distractions in Florida. And you're probably doing a more full practice. And by full, I mean like 45 minutes tomorrow. And then you're back to your 15, 20-minute skate on Thursday, 15, 20-minute skate on Friday, and then ready to roll for Saturday. That's what I would do. We'll see if I'm correct.
I think I take the red eye on Wednesday night. No, I'm kidding. No, if it's time, maybe like Thursday morning, get in there, practice, and just, like Cass said, get acclimatized to it's going to be hot down there, just let the body adjust a little bit to that South Florida kind of air, and then give yourself a day or two to get ready for this down there and things. I agree with Cass on that one.
Cass, when you talk about those distractions, you can't be talking about things like the video with Connor McDavid now. What kind of distraction is that? It's that's not going to happen down there in Florida.
Probably not. No, not going to get swamped by people. By the way, don't do that if you ever see them out and about. Please don't do that. Yeah, that's not wise. It's just not smart.
No.
Just don't do that. Yeah.
No, that was if anything, help with the booze, get it into the back of the Lambo. Jesus, come on. That was the most disrespectful fans I've ever seen. The fact that not even letting Connor it's kind of comical now. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of memes with that, but I mean, Lauren's standing there with
a
three
bunch
cases
of White Claws.
Claw.
Help her out.
Yeah, three or four cases of White Claw. You know, help her out.
Be a
Put it
gentleman.
in the back of the car. Yeah,
That's all it is
just
there, even. Just like, hey, do you need some help with that? If they say no, okay, then you walk away. But I think you throw that offer. Do you want some help loading that in? There's a lot there for you.
And again, like I mentioned in the morning show, there's contract years coming up. You got to think about this type of thing. Help Connor with these types of things. Don't hinder this. Don't make his decision easier later on. Come on, people. Be better. Be best.
And also just make the offer. Just it's not hard. Do you need help? No. Best of luck Saturday. Edmonton's cheering for you. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
Another text I want to get to is this from Eden. Afternoon, boys. How did the Oilers stop the Panthers from abusing them this series? I'm thinking of 2011 when Vancouver were power play merchants and the refs called nothing that series. Marchand punched Sedin in the face repeatedly in front of the official, and nothing happened. There has been some talk on the station today about how the Panthers, a little more physical team, the Oilers going up against that. How do you think the Oilers match up with the Panthers and their physicality, and how, to that texter and Eden's question, do the Oilers stop the Panthers from abusing them this series? Gager?
I don't think there's been a game where the Oilers have been pushed around to the point that you worry about them. This is the reason that you have a certain individuals in your lineup that can play hard between the whistles. Evander Kane, this if it does get to this point, I think the implementation of Corey Perry, like he bodes well in this series. We talked about possible line changes. Warren Fogle has proven that he's able to finish checks and play at a high speed, and there's not much after the whistle, but there's definitely something there. This isn't a case where they're going up against the Ogie Ogotorp here. This is, and if they did, then they feast on the power play. Like you mentioned, Matty, maybe a little gamesmanship at times is needed as well, right? No, this isn't poke the bear, see what happens. I expect the Oilers to be a more physical team from this last series against the Stars. They played better in a more physical series, I think. This is going to be, I think, more enjoyable to watch than that Dallas Stars series.
Yeah, that was a great series.
Yeah.
It'll be a different series. The Oilers' biggest weapon against physicality is going to be their power play, if it's clicking like it was the last couple games, because it's like, you could have Matthew Tkachuk and some guys trying to take advantage of Edmonton, trying to stir it up physically, but all it takes is one or two power plays where you burn them, and all of a sudden the throttle has to come off slightly or a little bit, and you burn them again. It's got to come down even more. Now you just hope that the officials call it straight, and maybe by straight I mean they call it the same way from the start of the series to the end of the series. What's a penalty at the start's a penalty at the end, and all the way through the middle, because then you kind of get a gauge of where it's at. But Edmonton does have guys that can push back a little bit. We'll see with Evander Kane, see where he's at. Darnell Nurse, the last couple games of the series, way more physical, way more nasty against Dallas. He needs to carry that in. That's another guy that can respond physically. So you have players that are going to or should be able to do that. I wouldn't say I'm worried about it. Where I see that physicality being a challenge is for Edmonton's defensemen moving the puck to the forwards in that transition game. How are they going to deal with that physicality under pressure? Not that I worry about Florida just being dirty, but I worry about Edmonton not making good plays under pressure, because that's at times during the season when Edmonton really struggled, was when teams really consistently were able to apply that and force turnovers and force troubles in Edmonton's transition game.
What do you think we're going to see from Tkachuk in this series? Because the last time we saw that player take on the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs, it started off in that Flame series, just what you guys kind of were talking about. But in that game one, he got under the Oilers' skin, and it allowed the Calgary Flames to win that hockey game. Then the rest of the series, the Oilers, almost even like the LA series this year, they just allowed Tkachuk and the team to do what they wanted to, and then they just took the power play opportunities that came from that and beat the Calgary Flames and destroyed the Calgary Flames. What do you think the Oilers could try to get that out of Tkachuk again, where he might be too focused on trying to get under their skins, or has he changed and evolved a little bit as a player that what you've seen so far when you've watched the Panthers that you don't think that's going to come out this series?
I don't know how much you've watched of Florida, but I find that the way Tkachuk plays is, standard Tkachuk style, finishing checks, being aggressive, but you don't see too much of the extracurricular unless they're down or need a boost. Like then you'll see him kind of lingering in the crease at that point, maybe an extra push or leaving his stick between someone's legs, and that's when you see him kind of revert to the turtle, as we spoke this morning. Those type of antics, and listening to Paul Maurice talk in his interview, he's matured a lot. He picks his spots a little bit more, I think, Maddie. So I think it depends on the situation of the game. Then it depends on the Oilers' discipline as well. Like, how do you handle that? Look, the Oilers have in their possession one of the biggest pests over the last couple decades in this league in Corey Perry. I think he can out Tkachuk if or how much wood can Tkachuk? I don't know how that goes, but
how much wood could Tkachuk chuck if Tkachuk could chuck wood?
There it is. There's a guy with young kids.
Tkachuk could chuck if Tkachuk could chuck wood.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cass, what do you think we're going to get from Tkachuk this series?
No, the Rat King. I mean, he's going to play his game. He's going to try to frustrate. He's going to try to score. He's going to be in it. He's going to be around it after the whistle. Will be a very different look in that regard from the Dallas series, which was like, that team had him like no scrums, nothing where we could accidentally take a penalty or have our emotions get out of check. It was like out of the scrums. There was like no scrums. There was barely any pushing and shoving. It was just like, just go play and get out of there. I don't think the same is going to hold for this series, especially if that New York series is telling it all of how Florida is going to play, which I think it is. So you're going to see a lot of them. He's going to be frustrating. Your job is going to be not to get frustrated by it. Don't get sucked into anything. That's going to be it. And that's going to be the conversation in the room, is just don't get sucked into his antics. Like, you have to stop him from playing well. You have to stay between him and the net, box him out, clear away second chances that may end up on his stick, and don't buy into his antics. That's going to be it. That's the messaging.
This is Two Guys and a Goalie, Two Mats and a Goalie edition, presented by GS Construction, live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. Want to qualify someone right now for the $100,000 hole-in-one swing to win with EST, presented by a Golf Town. That will take place July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club, hole 17, 180 yards out. Golf Town. If you're shopping for your father or even just for yourself for Father's Day, the perfect gift is at Golf Town. Save big with huge deals on TaylorMade in-store, online, now through June 9th, which is on Sunday. TaylorMade Sim 2 drivers for only $330. TaylorMade bags 25% off this Father's Day. Give the gift of golf. Visit them in-store at golftown.com for more details. Some exclusions do apply. Golf Town, your ultimate destination for Father's Day gifts. The keyword to text in today, Morikawa. Morikawa, Morikawa. Text that to 780-218-9999. You could be the fourth and final qualifier for today for the $100,000 hole-in-one presented by Golf Town. We'll announce who the qualifier is a little bit later in the show, and then keep your phone on tomorrow morning during the morning show with Lieutenant Eric, Jay Milne, and YouTube Trev, as they'll call one of those four qualifiers from today will be the seventh contestant for the $100,000 hole-in-one, which, as I said, will take place July 3rd at the Ranch Golf and Country Club, presented by Golf Town. Want to jump into Big Mama's and Papa's Pizzeria, bigger and hotter headlines. BMPP is a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery pizza chain, serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made-in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza cooked to perfection. A pizza experience you've been waiting for. Visit them 128th Ave, 97th Street. You can order today, bmpp.ca, or call 587-746-0550. I don't know when this has just been posted over the last couple of hours, I think. Before I get to this headline that I want to read to you guys, I believe that the Stanley Cup Finals, we are going to see Connor go off. He's 4 games away for legacy purposes, getting that ring finally. And I throw Leon in that conversation as well, that as much as, the Oilers have been playing well, like now they could see it. They could see the cup there. They could see the ring. Do you agree with that assessment a little bit, that Connor McDavid is primed to go off in this series, partly because he is playing for not just the Oilers and winning a cup, but for his legacy in this Stanley Cup Finals?
Best player in the world, wants to win.
Hold on to that.
I think you're going to see him show up.
Gager?
Yeah, there's a I think because and I look to people being there before, and the looking at the Florida Panthers, they were close last year, didn't get. They have that lack of a better term, the sour taste in their mouth. But the Oilers have a lot of sour taste too. They've being in Florida. The talk of the Stanley Cup is not on the forefront of a lot of people's minds, I don't think. And here it's a little bit different, and not having that success over the last number of years when they've had really good competitive teams, that's lit the fire even more. And you mentioned it, Matty, solidifying the legacy. I think you can put money on Connor at least one game going supernova here, and just having Paul Maurice and the bunch just shaking their heads and almost essentially we got beat by the ability of Connor McDavid to beat a team almost single-handedly. He's probably one of the only guys that can do that. And at this stage, you've seen it before. He's done it before. If Coolbet had a thing on Connor going off, I'd put money on it.
So Coolbet's lines, we just went through it, Huss and I, on Lock Shop. I'll pull it up here quickly before I get to where I want to go with this bigger and hotter headlines, because there's a headline I want to read from the Miami Herald. Let me just quickly pull up this series. Connor McDavid, total goals in this series, it's set at 2.5 goals. So minus 133 for over 2.5, plus 100 for under 2.5. And then his points total for this series is set at 9.5. So 10 points or more. As Huss said on the Lock Shop, if he's hitting over, probably likely the Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup. But like he's a guy that could go off for 2 points a game. And to hit the over on those points, it could take him just 5 games to do that. So that's what you have at Coolbet right now. I want to read something from the Miami Herald. I don't know if you guys know who Greg Cody is. Longtime journalist out there. I don't know if you've seen this headline yet.
Nope.
Okay. The headline from Greg Cody: Connor McDavid is overrated. Okay, I'm gonna read into this. Number one, because he has a bunch of points for this series. Number one, Connor McDavid. He's a guy that's been on the Dan Levichard show a lot. He long-time columnist on Miami Herald. One, Connor McDavid is overrated. Boom. He puts up big, impressive stats. Yes, fine. But should he be called, quote-unquote, generational, called the best player in the sport, when in 9 seasons he's yet to lead his team to a Stanley Cup? Edmonton truly has one of those players once. His name was Wayne Gretzky. He's why the Oilers won a bunch of 5 Stanley Cups. McDavid, no Gretzky. He had the requisite nicknames, McJesus, the chosen one, but he has not proven beyond stats transcendent, able to lift a franchise to ultimate heights. Mick overrated. Do you think could this be a Michael Jordan moment for Connor McDavid, where he sees something like this and goes, "I'll show you"?
I'd put it up in his stall. I'd make that. I'd put that clipping up for sure.
That's a troll. That's like,
yeah.
I mean, this guy's probably in the nasty chat right now. It's probably Sergei Bobrovsky in the nasty chat, or Matthew Tkachuk's mouth guard in the nasty chat, or Matthew Tkachuk in the nasty chat. Like that's a take just trying to stir it up. Like, I'm just going to say something controversial to be controversial. Oh, it's a clickbait, huge clickbait. Because you lead off with that, people are going to click on it. I just pulled it up and clicked on it. So congrats, you got me. You win for writing a headline that made me click on it. Total clickbait, total garbage opinion. Like, oh my goodness. Says like, yeah, about McDavid when the team he covers is playing them in the Stanley Cup final. Yeah, McDavid is overrated. Yeah, He's not generational. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever watched. I think it was Ryan Whitney. He was on one of the sports shows, and they were making the comparison. I think they were talking about Connor McDavid and saying he's not the. Ryan Whitney was trying to say that he was one of the most dominant players, if not the most dominant player in all sports. But it's very difficult to compare sports, and they were trying to compare basketball to hockey and saying, well, how can he only be out there for 2 minutes? We've got guys that stay out there for 45. You can't compare the two. Like if you were to tell a basketball player to run, full out almost for a minute, there's no way he could keep that up over that the 20-minute time span that they're on the court. So this is a case where, unfortunately, I think their American is showing, and maybe just only watching the Florida Panthers. I mean, you could kind of make a case of Barkov not getting his fair shake. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. I mean, I do believe Barkov does belong in the higher echelon of NHL players for sure, because he is a great player. But let's face it, he's not Connor McDavid.
Like, if there's a player you don't want to poke, it would be Connor McDavid, I would think. And it's like, if I'm Paul Maurice and I'm seeing that, I'm going, Jesus, Greg. We already have the plan to go up against these guys, and now you may have given him some sort of motivation. I guess, how much does that actually play in locker room motivation from outside noise, like media articles?
It plays.
Yeah?
It's called bulletin board material for a reason. The quotes go up on the board and they don't come off. Like they are up there. Quotes from the other team, quotes from the press. How can it not play into your psyche of wanting to stick it to that person and to show them? It absolutely does. 100% it does. This undoubtedly, this will be up on the bulletin board. Unquestionably, this will be up. I mean, further in that article, because I was just scrolling through, he also takes a bite at not a big one, but he takes a bite at Draisaitl and Zach Hyman. So, yeah, I mean, to quote from it, Edmonton's big three is McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman. I'll take Florida's Barkov, Tkachuk, and Bobrovsky over top of that. Like, that's going on the board. Like, it's just,
there's not a GM in the league that would even make that trade, right?
No. I'll trade you McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman for Barkov, Tkachuk, and Bobrovsky.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, like, Barkov and Tkachuk. I mean,
the Oilers could have got Bobrovsky a couple years ago, possibly, but no one wanted to go do it.
Yeah, Bobrovsky, like Draisaitl and McDavid, even if we in Hyman, like Barkov is an unbelievable player, one of the best in the league. Tkachuk, unbelievable player, one of the best in the league, one of the best in the world. Both those two guys, all four of those guys, McDavid, Draisaitl, Barkov, Tkachuk. But I'm not making that trade. The Hyman Bobrovsky, you're not doing it. Nope. But anyways, there's going to be lots of bulletin board material.
That's good.
All from this
that
one
was
article.
A hot headline.
Yeah,
all from this one article.
It's that's bigger and hotter headlines brought to you by Big Mamas and Papa's Pizzeria, and it's just, he's a legendary columnist there, but it's one, maybe stick to not talking about hockey, because it's overrated with McDavid. If there's one player we probably shouldn't be using that label on in the National Hockey League, probably Connor McDavid, if you watched anything that he's accomplished through his 9 seasons in the NHL. Want to throw out our qualifier for the $100,000 hole-in-one presented by Golf Town. It is VR Montenegro, so he got randomly drawn. Keep your phone on tomorrow morning, VR, as you will be potentially one of the person called, one of 4 chances to be called tomorrow morning, to know that you'll be the 7th contestant with the chance to possibly swing for the $100,000 hole-in-one presented by Golf Town. We still have a show on Thursday in advance of the Stanley Cup Finals, so we'll do a lot more looking at the series then as well. I know on the morning show today, Gage talked about how he's sad that he doesn't get to talk about F1 a lot, and Dusty is busy with the CFL, Pit Stop Pals. You guys try to get them in on a regular basis, but life gets in the way of Dusty. Look, there is a big F1 race this weekend. It's in our country. Mm-hmm. It's our race. Mm-hmm. We are all part of an F1 fantasy league. we've got a few minutes here.
You guys are a part of that?
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Shots fired there.
I didn't
There's nothing I can say to that one right now.
material. Bulletin board
Matt.
material. Yeah.
Cass trying to write for the Miami Herald right now.
I just want a job.
I'll be Greg Cody. Matt Kassian's overrated in fantasy of F1.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, leading all categories, overrated. Yeah.
What do you guys make of this upcoming race out in Montreal?
If you look at the weather, it's going to be wet. So this is another one where it's like anything can happen. I predict at least a few DNFs during the race. Qualifying is going to be very interesting with the timing of the rain and if the track does dry up at a certain point and if the rain comes again. It looks like it's going to rain the whole time. So, man, it's try to put your lineup together with the best guys that have done well when it does rain, and that is actually Lance Stroll. He's a master when it's wet. It seems like. So maybe finally we get to see old Lance do something.
So we go
special
from Charles Leclerc winning the home race to Lance Stroll winning the home race.
Let's not go crazy here, Manny. But no, I mean, when the water comes in, it makes watching it way more enjoyable, especially if it's intermittent raining. Hopefully, it doesn't postpone anything, and they have to. Like, I hate when it starts raining and they just say they can't do it and don't try the full wet tires. That's what they're designed for. But hopefully it can proceed without too much delay.
This Red Bull get back to being Red Bull here? Like,
yeah,
at what point are they back to?
I'm going full Red Bull. So every single person on my team is Red Bull. That's what I'm doing this week.
Did they make the right move by extending Perez for another year?
Yeah, Checo's been fine. I think they're fine. They're fine with that. I mean, I'd be more worried about keeping Verstappen happy, but maybe that's what that move is about too.
Well, I don't think you're risking the challenge with Verstappen with Perez on the team.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
He's it's kind of his seasons have mirrored. Like, it's a good start, kind of struggles. The struggles have come in lately. Especially in Monaco there, but he seems like he's embraced the number 2 role. Aside from last race with what happened, he's been okay. But I'm a little bit surprised. I thought they do want a challenge for the constructors. That's where the big money's in, where it comes in at the end of the year. So he's got a lot of work to do the rest of the season. If Red Bull, wants to finish as the constructors, because I think they're getting a lot of pressure from McLaren and Ferrari.
So then where's the best spot for Sainz going into next year? Is it just naturally Mercedes?
I don't know. To see that car the way it performs, I don't think it is the best spot. It might be the most comfortable spot, but I do think he still wants to challenge. I don't know. Maybe you look somewhere else. Maybe it's I don't know. I just don't think Mercedes is a good fit for Carlos. I think it's somewhere else.
Interesting take. No. Here's what I see happening is he goes to Mercedes because I think it's the comfortable choice, as you said. And I think they sell him on the pitch of improving the car and of getting to the point where he can challenge with Mercedes. And then I also think that for next season, that means that I'm just going to be all in on Mercedes, 100%, my F1 team.
Oh, you can't be all in on Mercedes next year.
Yeah.
Ferrari is showing me everything I need to see that when Lewis is there, him and Charles, there's going to be those two will be 1-2. I'm calling that next year. I'll call my shot right now. wanted to in F1 next year. Ferrari with the big race. Red Bull drops back a little bit. Ferrari takes the step forward, especially when Lewis goes in a car that people now are going to, like, no one at Mercedes cares about Lewis right now.
No, they don't.
So he's just riding out this year. He'll go into a car that's better, and we know what Lewis can do when he's got a car. And that's going to force the best out of Charles Leclerc. And Red Bull, we're starting to see the cracks based on that. As Gage, you've talked about, is it the wind tunnel training? Or that's
this was the year that they were going to say after the salary cap overage and the penalties incurred was wind tunnel time. They didn't think it was going to make an effect last year. This is the time where all that extra, time in the wind tunnel with other teams, especially McLaren, Ferrari. I'm surprised Aston Martin's not closer. We'll see what happens once they get back to Europe and sort of put more of those upgrades on there. But I think look at the one lap pace, guys. I've said it numerous times. It's hundredths now. It's just the race pace. I'm looking forward to free practices. See where it's at.
Esteban Ocon. Somebody take a shot at him next year?
I don't think so. He's done.
No,
he's done. Too many. Too much selfish. It's his favorite fish, selfish, and
Shellfish.
That's how he races. He's not. He seems to only care about himself in certain situations. You look at other teams. I look to Haas as one of the best partnerships. When Hulkenberg had the chance to increase the gap, you saw Magnussen kind of hold up the field, right, and do everything for the team. You just don't see that with Esteban. He's all about himself. Doesn't care.
Anything left we need to discuss F1 here, Gager? Because as we move on in this week, it's going to be a lot of Stanley Cup talk here. I want to make sure you get out whatever you need to get out.
I think I'm okay for now. Just I'll phone Dusty on vacation, see if he can pound out a pit stop, pals. If I need it, if I need the fix.
What changes you making your F1 fantasy team?
I don't make changes till I see practice, Cass. I avoid changes until I see what it looks like. Has it worked? No, but I'll try.
How many chips have you used?
Me?
I was asking Gager there, but I do want to know how many chips you've used. You haven't used one.
Only one.
Cass?
I think I've used one.
I haven't used any.
Yeah. Cass is hoarding.
That's the scary part.
When he does use them,
he needs to screw them up.
When he does use them, he's going to get triple the failure.
That's why he really needs to mess up with that.
Yeah.
I didn't even look after Monaco. I'm still sitting third. I'll take that.
Yeah, you're okay.
I'm only
okay.
I'm a 200 away. No, me and Gage are tied for third right there. Oh man, Nanso,
yes.
your protege Gager, right there, 5 and 7.
Yeah. My young and Padawan has come along swimmingly.
Wow, look at you go. Maybe you should focus a little more on your team and a little less on Hernandez, and you could be in second.
Yeah,
Stop.
And Dusty's team 171079968555355 is in last or second last.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, that one's third last. His second last is team 171079926583884.
It's Team San Quentin, the prison team. That's what I refer to Dusty's.
How do Dusty and Kent both have less than 1,000 points still?
Because Kent used his chip like the first race. Like, jeez.
Burned through it. Yeah, no idea.
Gage, are you slinging dogs again this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be there early. So concession 5, I want to say. Swing by there, and there'll be sustenance for everyone, and everyone enjoy the new the new cashiers. They have the new
point of sale.
Everything's redone in there. Yeah, point of sale stuff.
I'm excited to see the new bathrooms. I'm excited to see the updated bathrooms.
epoxy floored. They're really nice.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's gonna be.
Yeah, they
it's gonna be
announced a
nice.
bunch of upgrades to Commonwealth because of the 75th season. It's a great time, City of Edmonton. We got Riverhawks back in action. You can catch it live right here on EST later tonight, 7:35. But their home opener is on Saturday. Stingers tonight down at the Expo Center. They're going to be they're looking to be 5-0 tonight to start their season. Only undefeated team right now in the CBL. Elks get their season going on Saturday. Oilers in the Stanley Cup Final. And as of Wednesday, it's sunny. It's hot here in the city of Edmonton. Boys,
Beautiful.
we will do this again on Thursday. I'm going to let you guys go because I'm going to qualify somebody for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. But good chatting with you guys, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Later, boys.
Absolutely, you too.
And this has been Two Mats and a Goalie edition of Two Guys and Goalie, presented by GS Construction. GS Construction is hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page at indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team, GS Construction. We want to qualify someone for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. July 13th, the Saturday show. It is Kevin Hart with the VIP table for 4. You get a QR code. You scan it. You order your drinks and food. It comes to you, so you don't have to miss any of the laughs. Alicat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which includes the 6 o'clocker lager, our first big event for the 6 o'clocker lager. July 12th is completely sold out. That features Shane Gillis and Andrew Schultz. Sunday, you can still get tickets for, as well as the Saturday, at greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. On Sunday, it's Burt Kreischer and Whitney Cummings. But to qualify for the VIP table for 4 to the Saturday with Kevin Hart, just text us at 780-218-9999. River Valley, that's where Kinsman Park is. It's in the River Valley. Text that to 780-218-9999, and you will go into a draw. We'll contact someone. The big draw happening June 14th right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. On the morning show, we'll announce the winner of that, and then we're going to give away the 3 weeks following a VIP table to the Sunday show. But again, if you just want to get your tickets now, greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. As I mentioned there with the boys, we've got Riverhawks action later tonight right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. They're out in Ridgefield looking to bounce back from an opening series loss last night to Ridgefield. 7:35 will be first pitch right here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, as well as iHeartRadio. As I mentioned, their home opener Friday, 7:05 down at Remax Field. The Nanaimo is into town. And as we mentioned, the Elks game, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Green and Gold kickoff show live from Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Myself and Jay Milne. That gets going at 1 o'clock across all EST platforms. But the Riverhawks, they play Saturday as well. That game has been moved up to 1 o'clock just so you could just watch the Edmonton Oilers uninterrupted on Saturday night at 6 o'clock in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And as I mentioned, Stingers in action tonight down at the Expo Center. They are also in action at home on Sunday, the 9th. Hopefully, they'll be looking to go 6-0 that night, as tonight they look to go 5-0 as they take on the Vancouver Bandits, who I think 3-1 this season. The Stingers, though, they just took down Saskatchewan, who are 3-0 on Sunday. So we got a very good basketball team once again in town, led by head coach Jordan Baker. That's going to wrap up this edition of Two Guys and a Goalie, presented by GS Construction. Up next on our audio stream, it will be a morning show replay, back with full live programming tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, The Nielsen Show, Lieutenant Eric, Jay Milne, YouTube Trev. Another chance to qualify for the $100,000 hole-in-one presented by a Golf Town. And like I said, we also have the Edmonton Riverhawks later tonight, 7:35. Thanks for tuning in. On behalf of Cass, Gage, or Iwanyk, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll chat with you tomorrow.